Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 5:30 News on KPAX, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, I'm Jill Valley.
And I'm Dennis Bragg. Breaking news tonight from the University of Montana. Head football coach Bob Stitt is out of a job.
Sports director Derek Berkeley just returned from UM, where the athletic director met with the media. Derek joins us now on the future of the Grizz. Derek.
Yeah, Jill and Dennis, UM AD Ken Haslam made the decision today to not renew Bob Stitt's contract for next season. The head coach leaves Montana after 3 years. Stitt finished 21-14 overall with a 14-10 Big Sky Conference record at Montana. The Grizzlies fell to Montana State on Saturday. The second straight season Montana's lost to their biggest rivals also kept them out of the playoffs. Haslam said this decision was not determined by that one game alone or by the many angry calls and emails he received from Grizz fans, but instead he evaluated the program's performance over the entire year and felt the team needs to have more success and toughness. Haslam said the search for a replacement will start immediately, but he has not reached out to any possible candidates yet. I'll have much more later on in sports.
Thank you, Derek. And coming up, a jury trial finds former Florence doctor Chris Christensen guilty on more than 20 charges, including homicide for overprescribing and misprescribing prescription drugs.
MTN's Augusta McDonald was in court today as that verdict was handed down.
With the jury's decision today, Christensen could be sentenced for up to 405 years.
The direct reflection of this case is you can't do this. And I think the medical community, or I know the medical community, recognizes this is an outlier. This guy was an outlier. This was not the norm.
That total stems from 22 charges, 2 negligent homicide, 9 counts of criminal endangerment, and 11 counts of distribution of dangerous drugs following the trial that lasted 4 weeks. Christensen's clinic was raided in 2014. Hundreds of charges were initially brought against him, but were dropped when the trial started.
This is a nice day of justice for a number of these victims, including Greg Griffin and Kara Philbrick, who are no longer with us. I think their families can take a little solace that somebody's paying attention, that this jury paid attention and is speaking up on their behalf.
The mother of one of the negligent homicide victims testified earlier in the trial and says she is grateful for prosecutors and the criminal justice system for how it delivered justice for her son.
I will see Greg again someday.
Reporting in Hamilton, I'm Augusta McDonald for MTN News.
Christensen's sentencing is set for December 27th. The Thompson Falls Police Department is working closely with the school district after a student made threats of violence last week.
MTN's Kent Lutson joins us live now with the details and how school officials have responded. Kent?
Jill, Dennis, Thompson Falls Superintendent Jason Slater was unable to give the exact narrative of the threats due to the students' privacy rights. However, he did say the incident occurred during lunch on Thursday. One student was immediately removed from the lunchroom after Principal Richard Ferris was informed of the incident. In a statement sent to parents, Slater said a careless statement was made related to potential violence in the high school, and after assessment with local law enforcement, decided there is no immediate danger to any individual or group of students. Slater said school threats are taken very seriously and encourages team-based decision-making to determine the level of seriousness.
With this particular incident, for example, we included an SRO, counselor, principal, teacher, guardian, and the student. So we also are part of a cooperative as a small school, which gives us access to resources such as a school psychologist, which helps us do things like risk assessments and make good team-based decisions on behalf of all students.
The school is actively monitoring the situation. Slater said they are dedicated to providing a safe environment to students. Jill, Dennis?
All right, thanks, Kent. No school was canceled because of the threats. A man who authorities believe is responsible for a stabbing in Columbia Falls on Friday night has turned himself in. Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry says deputies were called to an outdoor party around 10 o'clock Friday night after reports of a stabbing. The sheriff says an investigation on Trumbull Creek Road showed a 23-year-old Kalispell man had been stabbed a dozen times after being attacked at the party by 20-year-old Spencer Blaney, also of Kalispell. The victim went to the hospital. He has undergone surgery and is in stable condition, and Blaney later turned himself in. He remains behind bars at the Flathead County Detention Center. He is being held pending formal charges of attempted murder.
The Flathead County Sheriff's Office still looking for a man accused of attempted homicide for shooting another man. A warrant has been issued for 22-year-old Brian McCulley. Sheriff Jack Curry says following an altercation in a Hungry Horse bar on September 8th, McCulley went to the home of one of the people involved in the incident and fired over 20 rounds into the house. Sheriff Curry says people were inside the home at the time, but no one was severely injured.
Thankfully, in this incident, no one was struck by any of the bullets. There were a lot of them. I think we recovered 28 shell casings. They were fortunate, and again, that's why there's an attempted deliberate homicide charge pending against Mr. McCulley.
Curry says McCulley has violent tendencies and should not be approached. He's thought to be in the Canyon or Columbia Falls area. Anyone with information is asked to call local authorities immediately or reach out to Flathead Crime Stoppers by calling 758-TIPS. A man who verbally assaulted and fled police in Columbia Falls after his dog viciously attacked another dog is now facing several charges. Police report around 4 p.m. Friday they went to a vicious dog complaint near the veterans home. The owner of a pit bull that had attacked another dog ran from officers. Officers used a taser to subdue the man and his pit bull, but then the dog tried to attack one of the officers. Columbia Falls Police Chief Clint Peters says that's when the dog was tased. Following the taser cycle, Peters says the dog again lunged toward an officer and was shot.
It's unfortunate that an event like this happens. Our officers responded and tried to have the person put the dog in the back of a vehicle so it was secure because we knew that the dog was already agitated. The subject decided not to, became combative with officers verbally, and then ran on foot.
The owner of the dog has been taken into custody. He'll be charged with resisting arrest, obstructing a police officer, and owning a vicious dog. The investigation is ongoing. Well, we should continue to see some rain and snow hit through a busy travel week. For more on what you can expect, let's toss over now to Russ Thomas with a look at the first forecast. Russ?
Yeah, not looking at good travel conditions. Not ideal, certainly over the next several days. Rain wet today, especially in Missoula, Bitterroot Valley. We saw some heavier rain move through. Also in the Mission Valley, you see our radar right now, and again, you can see those darker colors indicating some heavier showers moving through earlier in Missoula, and it looks like just here in the next few minutes, kind of going to get hit once again with some of that harder stuff. Temperatures as cool as 32 in Sealy, otherwise upper 30s, low 40s across the board. So again, a wet week on the way. Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thanksgiving, we'll have more details on that coming up.
In the past year, there have been 20 confirmed suicides in Lake County's Native community. Where it was once something whispered about, it's now an issue that's openly discussed in state government, in schools, and on Montana's reservations. It has to be. Montana's suicide rate is among the highest in the nation, and the numbers climb even higher in Indian country. There's a new effort to identify the factors that play a role in these tragedies. It's called the Zero Suicide Initiative. And where it's going to take a lot of hard work, the conversation on how to save lives is underway.
While this is a really sad time for us, it is also an opportunity for us to really put a mark in the sand and do business differently.
Tonight at 10, I go on special assignment and I meet a family forever heartbroken over the loss of a son, a brother, and a friend. And I'll learn how Native Americans can address this issue that is devastating their communities.
Thanks, Jill. And statewide news tonight, a major piece of the budget balancing package approved last week by the legislature is already being challenged in court. You'll remember in the special session, lawmakers passed a bill to transfer $30 million from the State Workers' Compensation Fund's investment portfolio to the state treasury. But now the Montana State Fund is suing to block that change, calling it illegal and unconstitutional. The State Fund is a quasi-government agency that writes work comp insurance for about 26,000 businesses in Montana. The suit says state fund investment money is property of its policyholders and can't be used to pay for general government services. Governor Bullock proposed the transfer and lawmakers approved it. Spokeswoman for Bullock said Monday that his office has serious concerns about the propriety of the lawsuit. A state judge on Friday rejected the fund's request for a temporary order blocking any transfer of the money and set a December 4th hearing in that case. Nebraska officials vote to allow the Keystone XL pipeline to cross the state, a key step toward the completion of the Keystone Pipeline network and its run through Montana. The XL pipeline, which would stretch from Alberta southeast to Seal City, Nebraska, would augment other pipelines and complete the system. Concerns about the Keystone Pipeline's safety, though, heightened last Thursday after an oil leak in South Dakota. TransCanada said a total of over 200,000 gallons of oil leaked from a part of the existing pipeline. On Sunday, TransCanada said 150 people still working around the clock on cleanup at the site of that leak.
Well, still ahead here on KPAX, Russ is back with our Thanksgiving week forecast, which looks like a real rainy one.
And one of the nation's most notorious criminals is dead. We'll have the reaction to that coming up after the break here on KPAX.